Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Yo-Yo Store Rewind. My name is T from TokYo-Yo. Today we're going to be taking a look at another yo-yo from Duncan. This one is kind of a sequel to the recently released Windrunner. Not really a sequel, but another one in the Runner series, if you will. So we had the Windrunner before, and now we've got the Duncan Roadrunner. So here we are taking a closer look at the Roadrunner. So you can see here the shape is basically a flared out H. It's kind of is described as having a wide profile, and it does feel like that because these rims are kind of big, they're kind of wide on the wider side. It's not particularly wide as far as the total width goes, but basically the silhouette of the yo-yo does feel wide. In the cup, it's very deep actually. The cup goes very far in. There's a spike in the middle here, which is very, very dull. It's basically just so you can poke the axle a little bit farther in. And around that, you've got this engraving of the Roadrunner, which I actually really like. I love the design aesthetic that they're going for with the Runner series. The material is 6061 aluminum. The feel of the yo-yo is very comfortable. I love these grooves. These sort of remind me of the grooves in the Prescription from One Drop, or yo-yos like that have grooves on the intersection. Feels really nice on grinds actually. And it has a really nice hand feel to it. It kind of makes you feel like you can get a better grip on it, if that makes sense. And the look is just, I really like the look. I mean, there's not that much too crazy going on with it. I guess you could say these grooves are pretty interesting, especially in the hand, but visually they kind of give it a difference in other yo-yos of this kind of shape and size. If it wasn't for the grooves, I would say it's a little bit similar to the Puffin 2 from CLYW. Not only that, the colors it comes in are really nice, kind of the typical Duncan colors, the blue, pink, black, like that. But all of them are just, I don't know, a hue darker or a shade lighter. They're not all the really typical colors that you see in other companies. All of them have this really nice, classy look to them. They're like off pink or off blue. Like this one, it's not that typical aqua. It's this really nice dark navy. That's kind of what drew me to it at first actually, was just this really cool color. This yo-yo came from Rewind. I'm doing this for a review video. And the Roadrunner is the next, as I mentioned, in the Runner series. That's what I'm calling it anyway. The Windrunner was the last one to come out. I think it came out last year if I'm not mistaken. That yo-yo is a lot of fun. It's one of Duncan's budget medals, and it kind of came out during one of the Japanese contests, so I was able to pick one up from that contest. First place that they were ever released in the world, which is kind of cool. It's like a very smooth V shape, and it had a really nice engraving in it. It just played real smooth. It plays like really middle of the road, really general, but it just did everything really well and for really cheap too. And so now you've got this one that's coming out as, I guess, it's not really a sequel to the Windrunner because the design is completely different, but it is the same in that Runner series where they're kind of taking a normal shape and doing something a little more special with it. And again, this is in their budget line, so it's really cool that they're getting this to be so cheap, and it's actually really playable, so we'll get into that. As for how the Roadrunner plays, it's very light actually. You'd be surprised. The weight itself is not that light, but the feeling on the string is extremely light. It's very easy to move. Because of that wide profile, it's easy to land on the string. You never feel like you're gonna miss with this thing. It's not any smaller than or bigger than any other yo-yo. It lends itself to being very catchable, I feel like. And because of the lightness too, I feel like it's pretty maneuverable as well. For grinds, I love the groove surface in here. It feels like it's really easy to grind on these, and you get pretty long grinds because of that. I feel like it reduces friction quite a bit. And on catches too, it feels really nice. I don't know, something about the way this catches, it just kind of goes into your hand really nicely, and it feels good on the grooves as well. Finger spins you can actually do. I think people might say you can't because of this spike and because of the engraving, but actually this cup is so deep and there's actually a pretty big catch zone in here. I find it's actually not any problem to do finger spins with this at all. I really like the responsiveness. Now it came with the Duncan red pads. I swapped those out for some Joker pads because I prefer the feeling of it. But actually the Duncan red pads were just fine. I just kind of preferred using different pads with this. And I kind of wanted to experiment and see if I could get a Duncan to feel a little bit different with different pads. But the stock that it came with, the Duncan reds, those are fantastic too. Because it's got this rim weight here, you can see this rim is actually really big and really thick. You're gonna get a really good sleep time on this, and the stability is nice too because of that. Even though they keep it feeling light, and because it even has that rim weight, and it's like, you know, kind of on the mid-size, it doesn't have that rock feeling. It just feels really nice on a throw. It feels like it hits the end of the string, and just, there's no issue with that at all. So overall, what do I think of the Roadrunner? I think this is an awesome yo-yo. I was actually really excited about this. This and the Orbit came out at the same time. And I think that the Roadrunner is a really fun, very underpriced, I feel like. I feel like they could charge a lot more for this yo-yo in Duncan's kind of budget lineup. It's quite different from the Windrunner, so if you're worried about it being too similar or being just a redesign of that, it's not. It's a completely different design. As well as that, I kind of feel like Duncan doesn't have that many yo-yos that are on like the wider silhouette side. I'm very glad that they went with that kind of design for this one. Also the grooves, I think those are kind of un-Duncan-y, at least in their modern lineup, so I think that that was a cool move as well. Last thing I can mention is the smoothness of the yo-yo. It's not 100% dead smooth on the nail, but on the string it's really, really butter, so you're not gonna have to worry about that at all either. There's no interference with play whatsoever. So yeah, overall, I really like the Roadrunner. I think it's a really nice addition to Duncan's lineup. I think it's a fantastic budget yo-yo. And I just love that Duncan is throwing so many budget yo-yos into the ring because they're this big company that doesn't have to do that. They could put out really expensive bimetals and I think people would just buy those up. But it's really nice that they're going for the budget market, that they're trying to get good yo-yos into the hands of people who maybe can't afford a $70, $80, $100 yo-yo. So I think it's good on Duncan that they're doing this. All right, thank you so much for joining us on Yo-Yo Store Rewind. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave us a like, a comment, a subscription. We'd really appreciate it. Take care, have a nice day, and sayonara.